Okay.
Per Adam Schefter, one source said there is 0 chance the Patriots trade the number 3 overall pick. They will stick and take their QB of the future. And it's looking like
I have the
Drake
pick.
Maye is a New England Patriot. All right. Costco was in the chat. He was saying Caleb far better than Drake Maye. Brett, the breakdown to Drake Maye here. I believe you had him inside your top 20, but you had him way down your board. At least farther down your board than he's getting drafted.
Yeah, I literally had him at 19, so barely inside the top 20. Everything I said about Caleb Williams and my concerns there applies to Drake Maye. The scary part, though, is Drake Maye doesn't have the level of accuracy Caleb is capable of playing with right now. Mechanically, he's a mess, but the processing is so bad. Like I said this on Ross Tucker, 2 days ago, Joe, where the floor for Drake Maye is literally the abyss, and that's scary for me. I do think he has a lot of physical raw talent in his body. He just needs the right coaching, and I'm honestly glad he's not ending up in Minnesota with his former high school coach, because there's an argument to be made that maybe his former high school coach is why his mechanics suck and why his play style resembles that of Josh McCown, because Josh McCown didn't have good mechanics. He was a wild man that couldn't process. He played out of structure too much. So,
well, and how did Bryce Young do last year with him?
How did Bryce Young do with who?
With Josh McCown? Not well.
Since Vietnam, yeah.
Oh, since Vietnam.
Yeah, that's literally true by yards per attempt. Yeah. So I love that take because no one else is talking about it. Everyone's just like, oh, you could fix the sloppy mechanics and the footwork. And it's like, just wait till he gets an NFL coach who puts his hands on him. And it's like, his dad was literally an NFL quarterback. Like
right.
His high school quarterback was Josh McCown, who's a QB coach in the league.
So
it's like he's been surrounded by it his entire life.
No one's making that point. They're all using it as like a pro argument where it's
by the way, we also saw it last year, with Jalen Hurts, by the way. I know Brian Johnson helped Jalen Hurts become an MVP candidate, but they promoted Brian Johnson, who's known Jalen Hurts since Jalen was in diapers, and then the Eagles ran one of the stalest offenses in the entire NFL and then fired him. So Trey and Thomas are going to kick my ass if I don't mention that we are headed to YouTube very shortly, YouTube only. YouTube.com/FantasyPoints. I want you to go there, click on the subscribe button, because that is how Thomas is going to get his Tim Hortons. I'm coming out with every single Canadian stereotype I possibly can. YouTube.com/FantasyPoints. Click on that subscribe button. We are really trying to build that up and make sure everybody can see and get our wonderful content in front of as many eyes as possible. And when we get to YouTube, I am probably going to go try to turn a light on in here so I don't look like a vampire nearly as much anymore. But we'll get through that. But anyway, Drake Maye has been selected by the New England Patriots, Brett. And here is one point I want to point out, though, for fantasy. Now, the thing we have kind of acknowledged is all 4 of these big 4 quarterbacks are going to have some level of fantasy upside because all 4 of them can move. Penix ran well, but I guess the concern is Penix isn't going to run in the NFL because he was a pocket passer in college. But here's the thing about Drake Maye, Brett. They have a really easy solution if they think he needs development. They signed Jacoby Brissett.
Agreed.
Jacoby Brissett might be the best backup quarterback in the NFL.
I don't think there's a might be. I think he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really like Jacoby Brissett. I think he's a perfect meat shield for a guy like Drake Maye. Where especially right now they're projected to start Connor McDermott at left tackle in New England. The dude's been in the league for 7 years. He's got like 1,200 snaps under his belt. Like more than 60% of them have been at right tackle. Like this is not, probably the league's worst left tackle right now. So not a good situation for Drake Maye to step into. Thankfully, though, he has Jacoby Brissett in front of him who can meat shield a little bit. To your point, though, about the running, Joe, I do think Drake Maye's running style, I think his athleticism probably translates the least to the NFL of the big 4.
Yeah. I got to ask, you and Costco, y'all said you were really high on Patrick Mahomes when he came out. Mm-hmm. And I know I've seen this comparison, and it's hard to make these comparisons because of what we know the guy is. But you know what he was when he was talked about as basically the worst quarterback prospect of all time by draft Twitter. What did you think of Josh Allen?
I knew you were going there.
Yeah.
No, admittedly I wasn't the biggest Josh Allen fan. You know, I did think his rushing ability would translate though, because he's just such a bully. But I didn't think he was a good thrower of the football at all. He struggled processing, actually still does, still struggles with bouts of wildly inconsistent accuracy as well. When they traded for Stephon Diggs and they added John Brown and Cole Beasley, that 3 guys that can really separate, that is what took Josh Allen to the next level, right? So, like, I really feel like for Drake Maye, they're going to need to do the same thing. They're going to have to make a heavy investment in guys that separate, guys that can get open and win their routes early in the route. That'll help with his processing. That'll help with his confidence, and it'll ultimately help with his accuracy. It's other teams. It's funny, they fixed Josh Allen's accuracy for the most part with guys that can separate. You've seen other teams follow suit, right? Like Jalen Hurts, they gave him AJ Brown. Hurts exploded. Tua Tagovailoa down in Miami, they gave him Jaden Waddle and Tyreek Hill. Next thing you know, he goes from horribly inaccurate to a very accurate passer. It's pretty tried and true. Justin Fields last year, to some extent, they give him DJ Moore. It was the best throwing season he had from an accuracy standpoint. So that it all makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know that I see the direct Josh Allen comp to Drake Maye though, but I understand where you're going.
Well, you know, I saw him in person at the Clemson game, and I forget which receiver. It might have been Tez Walker. He rolled out to his right and threw off his back foot just an absolute gorgeous touchdown pass.
Yeah.
A Clemson defense that kicked his ass for most of the day. But it's those flash plays, right? It's those flash plays that that really kind of that really kind of get you excited. But on the flip side, you mentioned the Eagles adding AJ Brown and the Bears adding DJ Moore and Stephon Diggs to the Bills. Well, the Patriots don't have that right now. Their number 1 receivers like Tyquan Thornton. There were talks. They have been in discussion for Brandon Ayuk. The 49ers have been exploring trading Brandon Ayuk. I don't know what they're going to trade. The Patriots would trade for Brandon Ayuk at this point, but that is worth pointing out.